I'm coming for them belts, boy. You gonna see the raft of the new champ. Different energy, different spirit. Coming to win. I tried to learn boxing, stick and move. Isolating the sweet science of the sport, doctrinating my style. But we're going back to the raw, rugged streets. That's where I belong. I never followed no athletes growing up, no movie stars. I followed the hustlers, the Rayful Edmonds, the Jeff Ports, the Nicky Barnes, the Big Meaches, the Larry Hoovers. You understand me? They're the people that gave me the inspiration, the ones that came up from the streets to the top of the world, the empires, the bangers, the hustlers.
Right, if I was on the phone to the Chinese, local Chinese, it'd be egg fried rice, special fried rice, large, plain chow mein, shredded chicken chow mein, large, salt and chili king prawn, salt and chili chicken, kung po prawn, sweet and sour chicken balls, sweet and sour pork balls, shredded chili beef, beef in black bean sauce, mini pancake rolls, large pancake roll, curry sauce, 2 portions of prawn crackers. Bosh.
Shaylin is saying, who said terms agreed? Well, you can see it on the screen, my friend. Lord Mike Coppinger himself, 26 minutes ago. Tyson Fury and Oleksandr Usyk's teams have now both informed the WBA that they have agreed terms for the undisputed World Heavyweight title fight, April the 29th. At Wembley Stadium, the WBA will not order Usyk versus Daniel Crash Test Dummy Dubois. This is why I never ever accuse fighters of being cowards. Never. Never accuse fighters of being cowards, and it's important to never overreact. Shout out to those people who have spent the last 24 to 48 hours crying and overreacting on social media, accusing professional fighters of being cowards, duckers, wasting time arguing about splits. Shout out to all those people who've wasted the last 48 hours on social media arguing about who deserves what split, where and what time. This is why I don't engage in this stuff. It's all a complete waste of time. The only thing that matters is the fight gets done. And that's what it's looking like now. So there's a lot of people today with egg on their faces. I'm tempted to now start going through Twitter and going through certain people's accounts. I'm very tempted, you know, to start going through people's social media accounts. So-and-so's ducking so-and-so. So-and-so's never going to sign. So-and-so's just doing this to get out of the fight. So-and-so never had the intention of fighting in the first place. Less than 48 hours later, it looks like we have a done deal. Mike Coppinger reporting. The WBA have been informed by both teams that they are accepting terms. This fight's taking place, as it stands, April the 29th at Wembley Stadium. Where are those people that said either of these two men were cowards? Where are they at? I thought these two were... I thought Fury was a coward. I thought Usyk was only asking for 50-50 because he was scared of Fury. Where are you at? Where are you? I thought Usyk was only asking for 50-50 because he was trying to get out of the fight with Fury. But then he turns around at the dying minutes and says, you know what, fuck it, I'll take 70-30. I thought Fury wasn't going to sign the agreement. I thought Fury wasn't going to agree terms. I was being told as early as 45 minutes ago. Oh my God, that's it for Fury. That's it now. He'll never agree terms. That's it. He's called his bluff. Press 1 if you heard that in the last show about 45 minutes ago. Oh my God, he's called Fury's bluff. My God, the mind games has worked. Oh, what a mind game. That's an unbelievable mind game from Usyk. Wow. Wow. That's it now. Wonder what Fury's going to say. Straight to the WBA and told the WBA this fight is on. Why do they keep doing this though? Why do you keep doing it to yourselves? Like, why can't you just sit down, chill out, have a paracetamol, have a couple of Horlicks, put your furry slippers on, set the reclining chair to number 6, turn on the central heating, and just wait for the fights to happen. Just chill out. All this going on social media, abusing people, sending people abuse, calling people cowards. When you ain't even got the heart to go in and you ain't even got the heart to do boxercise, and you're calling fucking 6'9" men who weigh 300 pounds cowards. You ain't even got the heart to go and do boxercise at Fitness First, man. What is going on in this day and age? Just chill out. Do you know what's so bad? Like I said today, I had a boxer, ex-boxer, get in touch with me on social media and say, "Yo, Ultra, do you think Tyson Fury's scared of Usyk because he's behaving weird like?" And I said, "You should know better than anybody because you've been in the ring. All fighters are scared of losing. All fighters get that little bit of fear in them, but it's healthy." I said, "No, I don't believe Usyk's scared of anybody. I don't believe Fury's scared of anybody." I said, "Tyson Fury's a guy who jumped into a ring with Deontay Wilder based on how many fights did he have before he jumped in with Wilder? Did he have 2 tune-up fights? He fought Cephas Fury and Francesco Pianetta. They tell you that Fury's record's for the bums, right? Am I right? Fury's record's for the bums. So am I right in thinking this is a guy who came back into boxing, had 2 fights, and then jumped in the ring with Deontay Wilder? That doesn't look like a coward to me. I'm just being honest with you. People say, "Oh, he's a homer for Fury." I'm just being honest, like, that is one of the least cowardly moves I have ever seen. 2 fights. 2 or 3 fights back in the sport. You're going away from home. You're jumping in the ring with Deontay Wilder in a fight where everybody thinks you're going to get killed. Remember, it's a cash out fight. All these 40s bums, they're just cashing out. He's got no chance to win. That doesn't seem like a cowardly move to me. I'm just being honest. So I replied to this professional boxer and I said, "No." I said, "I don't think it is. In fact, I'll actually read what I said." Shall I actually read to you, word for word, what I said to this guy? Let me get the messages up. This is what I said to my ex-professional boxer friend. By the way, this man was a British champion, okay? I said to him, just trying to go through the bits I can read, but I said that I think this fight will happen. Didn't think it would happen for April, but I believe this fight will happen. You guys have seen me on social media. I said I think this fight will happen, not in April. I didn't think it would happen in April, but I think it will happen. Didn't expect it to happen right now. All I'm saying is this. At what point do we just turn around now and start giving these guys credit now? Usyk deserves credit. No fucking about. Most of the public was on Usyk's side, re this so-called split. You don't see me really getting involved in 50-50 splits and counting pay-per-view numbers, right? You don't really see me do that, right? But most of the public was on Oleksandr Usyk's side. He could have taken the easy way out. He could have gone and smashed up and he would have destroyed Daniel Dubois. That's a terrible matchup. Again, I'm not talking about resumes and who fought who. I'm talking about styles. It's a terrible style matchup for Daniel Dubois. It's a terrible style matchup. Daniel Dubois was going to get his lights put out in that fight. He's going to get stopped again in that fight. So it was a terrible fight. So, as it stands, this fight looks on. If it's on, both of these guys deserve credit. Oleksandr Usyk deserves credit. And I give Tyson Fury a little bit of credit as well for taking the fight. Listen, they're both doing it. This is the fight that everybody said they wanted. I don't want to hear no more excuses. Is that okay? Press 1 if you're with me. And press 2 if you're not with me. I don't want to hear no more excuses now. Unless one of these 2 pulls out or one of these 2 gets injured or if there's a new excuse that comes up, yeah? In the next couple of minutes, right? But if this goes through, no more excuses because it's getting stupid. Let me give you an example. This comment in the chat. Fury has not agreed the deal though. Right. No, I'm not sure if anything's been signed, but all I can tell you is this news is very, very positive if you want to see the fight happen, right? That's it. Very, very positive that both teams have told the WBA, don't order Usyk versus Dubois. We are in agreement on this. I think that is incredibly positive. And I think that's an incredibly big step. It's the most significant step towards making this fight happen in the last 3, 4, 5 months. Am I right or am I wrong? So why are we still clinging to hopes that this fight won't happen? Why are we still clinging to these hopes that this fight won't happen? That's all I'm saying, like. This should be a lesson to people out on the internet, yeah? At the end of the day, boxing's a business. It's not about legacy. Number of belts don't pay your mortgage. Number of belts don't feed the kids, right? Best thing to do with all these fights, and it'll be the same thing for Terence Crawford, Errol Spence, which I think will happen. Do you guys think that fight will happen, by the way? Terence Crawford, Errol Spence. See, these fights don't always happen when you want them to happen. But quite a bit of the time they happen, don't they? Do you not think? They don't always happen when we want them to happen. They don't always happen as fast as we want them to happen. But quite a bit of the time they happen, right? Kell Brook versus Amir Khan. Look how long that took to happen. It took a decade to make that fight. But it happened, right? It happened, right? I mean, if that fight can happen after a decade, any fight can happen. Mayweather and Pacquiao. After 5 years of bullshit. Did that fight happen? Yes, it happened. Sometimes, you know, these things take time. So the only point I'm trying to make here is sometimes, instead of jumping to conclusions and fucking crying on social media and, you know, spending your whole day on Twitter going back and forth and wasting time looking at pay-per-view numbers and splits. Can I ask you a question? Would you agree with me? If this fight gets concrete done, we're waiting for an announcement, right? But if this fight gets concrete done and dusted, would you agree that all the people that have been on the internet spending the last 2 days arguing about purse splits and pay-per-view numbers have completely wasted their time? Would you agree with that? Or is that an unfair statement, or is that a fair statement? Does that make sense? If this fight gets made, all of that talk was for nothing. It was completely... It's a waste of time and energy. So that's all I'm saying. I am happy that this is a big step to this fight happening. John Charlton says, all the people that have spent months raging about this fight not happening actually seem even more angry now it is happening. Bizarre. Let's have a look and see what the comments on the Benson's page says. I'm assuming they're going to be delighted, right? Because after 2 days of accusations of ducking and stuff, right? Looks like both men are willing to fight, okay? So let's see what the comments say. Usyk ain't getting out. Usyk is definitely not. I don't think Usyk's getting knocked out in this fight. Here we go. Wouldn't be shocked at all to hear Fury finds a way to weasel out of it and duck Usyk. Wow. Excuse me. Few comments here. Postponed. So this guy thinks it could be postponed. See? Fury still find a way to duck. There you go. So you can't. What do you guys think? Well, you can't win, can you? That's my only point. Is like you can't win. Can't win with some of these people, man. Thought you'd be happy, but we'll see. It seems like some people still ain't happy about it, but I am. I think Crawford versus Spence will happen. 100%. Just think it's boxing business. Do you really believe that Errol Spence is afraid of Terence Crawford? Do you really believe that? I don't believe that Errol Spence is afraid of Terence Crawford. I don't think Terence Crawford's afraid of anybody either. I think the two of them will fight and it will get done. It's about business. That's all I'm saying. All I'm saying is, yeah, the last 2 days we've seen a lot of overreacting, right? And a lot of slander. All I'm saying is, sometimes it's best if people just chill out and wait for the chips to fall and then come out with your opinion. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. Leon, the canteen, says, how many times will you see I thought... Well, the next one, the new one now, press 1 if you agree with me and press 2 if you disagree with me. The new one now is going to be Fury will pull out. What do you think? What do you think? Is that going to be the new excuse now? Is that Fury's going to pull out anyway, so this don't count now? It don't count. So if he takes the fight, if he doesn't take the fight, he's ducking. And if he takes the fight, he's still going to find a way out anyway. All I'm trying to say is, at what point do we just start giving credit to both of these people? Again, some people on the Fury side were saying Usyk was looking to do 50-50 as an excuse to try and avoid the fight. Well, that's bullshit, because Usyk's now, it seemed to meet them halfway. So what's the problem? Gary Harrison is saying, is this official? Well, Mike Coppinger is saying that the WBA have been informed by both sides that they've come to an agreement. So what more do you want? The next stage is to get the official announcement. But I would say this fight is pretty close. What do you guys think? Or does anybody want to still come up with... Are we still coming up with excuses for this? Or what? What's the... What? I'm just trying to figure it out. What's the next excuse? Tell me. What are the next excuses? What's the next excuses for this fight not happening now? Someone's going to pull out, yeah? Okay. Is that the new one? Someone's going to pull out. I would have thought that was pretty big news, that the WBA are not going to enforce Dubois as the mandatory because they know this fight's happening. I would have thought that was positive news. I also would have thought it's positive news that this got done, not in a day, obviously, but I would have thought it was positive news that Usyk came out and did the video, he accepted. Fury came out and did his video, he accepted. And it looks like this has now been settled in a matter of hours. I would have thought that would have been reason for boxing fans to be mildly optimistic. Am I wrong about that? Am I wrong? Usyk released a video saying, I accept. Fury came back 10 minutes later. I accept. An hour later, the WBA are informed that terms have been agreed. I would have thought that would be reason for everybody worldwide to be happy about this. So it's interesting, isn't it? John Smith says, Fury's call-out videos are so funny. The one where he calls Usyk a shitbag. He just needs to make sure he goes in there and wins. Because this ain't going to be no fucking easy fight. Oleksandr Usyk is a once-in-a-lifetime fighter. This ain't no fucking Tom Swartz. It ain't no fucking Tom Swartz, man. Ain't no Tom Swartz, John McDermott or Steve Cunningham, man. This is a once-in-a-lifetime fighter. Usyk's one of the greatest fighters of all time. That's just a fact of life. That's who he's getting in with. You've got... people will dispute if Fury's an all-time great, and I'm cool with that. I don't really care. But Usyk certainly is an all-time great. So, what we're seeing is an all-time great fighter in its prime. In his prime. Is going to be coming to the UK. A bit like when Beterbiev came to the UK, isn't it? An all-time great fighter is going to be coming to the UK in his prime. Can I ask you another reason to be optimistic? Or not to be optimistic. I could be wrong. But, you know, whenever these big fights happen, they happen in Saudi Arabia. And British fight fans complain, don't they? Don't they complain? And say, oh, all these boxers are chasing the money. Oh, we wish that these fights could happen in the UK. Well, as it stands, this fight is allegedly going to take place in the UK. Again, why are these sour faces for? I'd have thought people would have been happy, right? Always complaining that the big fights are taking place in Saudi Arabia. Well, it's not signed, sealed and delivered, right? But I'm assuming this means there's a very, very good chance that the Undisputed Heavyweight Championship of the World will be taking place in the UK at Wembley Stadium. I thought that's what British boxing always wanted. Am I right or am I wrong? Press 7 if you agree with me and press 8 if you disagree. Wasn't this what everybody always wanted? Do you remember the road to Undisputed? Does anybody remember the road to Undisputed? The road to Undisputed. Oh, it's here now, isn't it? Is it here or not? Wasn't that what it was all about with AJ, right? The road to Undisputed. I thought you'd be happy that the road to Undisputed looks like it's finally coming to a close here. In England. Not in Saudi Arabia. So all of you will have the opportunity to buy a ticket and go. I thought people would be happy. Give me your thoughts. TMT says they will complain until the hour of the fight, disappear for a few days, then come back with another goalpost. All famous fighters get abused on social media. If Oleksandr Usyk was to lose a unanimous decision in this fight, in the space of 24 hours, Oleksandr Usyk will turn into somebody that had no resume at heavyweight. Evil Kin says, so this channel is pro Fury, I take it. Yes, mate. Absolutely. I'm pro Fury because I'm happy that this fight's on. Absolutely. That makes me pro Fury. I'm anti Usyk as well because this fight's happening. Just because I'm happy. Just because I'm happy that this fight's taking place. Because I've spent the last 48 hours on social media calling boxers cowards and complaining and whining like these idiots. I'll show you right now. Look at these idiots on Talk Sport complaining, whining and crying about the fight not happening. You look like an idiot. They look like idiots. Look, just wait. How hard is it just to wait a bit? Just chill out and wait before running your mouth. Is that hard? Sorry, let me get this up. Look at this Talk Sport. Look. Simon Jordan running his fucking fat mouth. He should be ashamed. Simon Jordan says Tyson Fury should be ashamed if he doesn't fight Usyk. He's going to be licking Fury's balls if he signs to fight in the next fucking 24 hours, isn't he? Am I right or am I wrong? He's going to be licking Fury's ballsack in the next 24 hours if he signs to fight, isn't he? You're right, TMT. No channel is unbiased. No channel is. We've all got our biases. I'm just saying, though. Do you not think, though? All I'm saying is people just need to chill out in general. That's all I'm saying. In future, just make a note of it. The next time we have to go through this big fight shit, wait. Before you start running your mouth, you know, jumping all over fucking, all over the media, accusing people of being cowards. I've seen certain people on TalkSport, I believe Adam Catterall, who I've got a lot of respect for, he's been saying, oh, it's obvious, you know, so-and-so don't want it. Well, listen, all I'm saying is this. You can't complain that someone doesn't want it and then not give them credit when they sign for the fight. And that's all I'm trying to hammer. I know I keep repeating myself, but I just want to hammer that home. I just want people to understand. You can't criticize people and call them duckers for not signing to fight. And then if they do sign to fight, you just don't give them any credit anyway. That's not on, right? That's not on, isn't it? That's all I'm trying to say. That's all I'm trying to say. AH says, too many whining people in this world and most of them ain't done nothing, just full of self-importance and wind. Leon says, why are people still talking about this is what I'm saying. Why are people still talking about purse splits? The fight's agreed. This is what I'm saying. Do you think that's a fair comment by Leon, guys? If this fight is happening, why are we still talking about splits? Do you think that's relevant or not? Like, I don't get it. I really don't get it. I don't get it, man. I don't get it, man. Sorry about that. It's just maybe I'm missing something. William Angel says, this should serve as a life lesson for people not to waste their life talking away about purse splits that you are seeing none of. This is what I'm saying. Wasted 2 days talking about purse splits, and it looks like it's going to happen anyway. John Smith, I miss the days of boxing where we would talk more about how the fight would go more than the purse splits. Proven187 says Simon Jordan is like a male Karen anyway. Who gives two shits about his opinion? Michael J says Eddie Hearn running around to get AJ versus Fury. Do you not remember that? Let me ask you. Let me just see if there's any more new. I think it's very significant, this. Especially that it could happen in the UK as well. Especially that it could happen in the UK, above the Middle East of all places. This is what I was saying before. It's a once-in-a-lifetime fight, isn't it? It really is a once-in-a-lifetime fight. The undisputed heavyweight championship of the world is going to be looks like it could be happening in Great Britain. I just think it's monumental, man. And good luck to both of them. I will say this, like I said before, if Fury loses this fight, he was always garbage anyway. That's what you're going to see. If Fury loses this fight, he was always garbage, right? That's what it's going to be. He was always garbage. He was always rubbish. Wilder was a bum. White wasn't nothing. Despite the fact these same people are crawling up Dillian White's bottom with a microscope for the last 6 months. If Fury loses, he'll be a bum. If Usyk loses, he'll be a cruiserweight. Yes or no? True or false, right? That'll be the next one. If Usyk loses this fight, he'll just be a cruiserweight. Never fought anybody at heavyweight other than Anthony Joshua. he got lucky against Derek. That's what will happen, innit? It'll be Usyk was a cruiserweight who moved up. He didn't really fight anybody at heavyweight other than Anthony Joshua. And he got lucky in a fight with Chisora. That's what's going to happen, isn't it? That's what's going to happen. It won't be the best man won, innit? Two great fighters fighting. Two fantastic talents fighting. Two of the most skilled boxers that we've seen in boxing for a very, very long time. Go head to head. It won't be that, will it? It will be, he's a bum. Told you he was rubbish. He's shit. Told you he was ducking. I told you he's rubbish. Oh no, that Usyk, he was too small. He was rubbish. I thought Chisora beat him, to be honest. No, this don't mean anything. He did what he was supposed to do. Do you remember? I hate to bring up Tommy Fury and Jake Paul in the same sentence, but those people who were online saying that Tommy Fury was ducking Jake Paul, you don't hear from them anymore, do you? Do you know what I'm saying? Do you see what I'm saying? Those people who spent 6 to 9 months, Tommy Fury's ducking, he'll never fight Jake Paul. He's ducking him. He'll never fight. Honestly, he'll do anything to try and get out of the fight. Then when he took the fight, he's going to pull out of the... Do you remember that? Then he's going to pull out of the fight. When he took the fight, he was going to pull out of the fight. And then he showed up on fight night. And he was going to get knocked out. And then when he won, it didn't count because he was supposed to win. That's why I'm annoyed, isn't it? That's how it goes, isn't it? If you don't sign to fight, you're ducking. If you sign to fight, you're going to pull out. When you don't pull out, you're going to get knocked out. And when you win, you're supposed to win. I don't count. I don't count because he didn't knock out a YouTuber. Can't believe it, mate. He's been boxing since he was 6 and he didn't knock out a YouTuber. He's rubbish. Mate, you just spent the last 9 months saying he was ducking because he was going to get knocked out. And we're going down this road all over again, aren't we? Same shit, different day, innit? Same shit, different day, mate. He's not going to sign. He's ducking. He should be ashamed if you don't take this fight. He should be ashamed. 2 seconds later, terms agreed. Here's the next one. He's going to pull out. His bluff got called. His bluff got called. Press 9 if you think we'll hear this one. He's only taking it because his bluff got called. Or the public will turn on him. He's been railroaded into taking this fight. He's got no way out. He's got no choice. He's been railroaded into this. He's been railroaded into this. That's it. He can't get out of it. It never ends, does it? It never ends. And it does annoy me a bit because, like I said before, people like myself constantly take abuse, right? From people who just disappear in it, who do disappearing acts. So it is what it is. So just get ready for that. If Usyk loses this fight, it won't count. Just remember that. If Usyk loses, it won't count because he's too small. He's too small and he had no business being at heavyweight. Let's see if we got any more news. What do you think? If, and it's a big if Frank Warren can get this over the line in the UK, if Frank Warren can get this over the line in the UK, bloody hell, would you say that's a big achievement? What do you think? Do you think that'll be a big achievement if Frank Warren can get this one over the line in the UK? If he can deliver undisputed heavyweight championship in the UK at Wembley Stadium? Do you think that if Frank can deliver that, he can get credit? Because the knives were out, weren't they, for Frank this week, weren't they? Knives have been out, haven't they, for Frank, haven't they? Haven't they? Am I right about that? Have the knives not been out for Frank as well? Well, what's being said? See? Told ya. When Eddie Hearn's not involved. You said when Eddie Hearn's not involved, the fights are easier to make. But look, Frank don't want it. Frank can't make these big fights. All of a sudden, these people have now disappeared. Since about 9:30 this evening, these people can't be found anywhere. So, do we give him credit as well, or what? Does he get any credit? If he can get this over the line and get it over the line in the UK, does he get any credit as well? Because the knives are out, innit? See, I told you. Told you Eddie Hearn wasn't the problem. Told you. It's all Frank's fault. Frank and Fury don't want it. They'd be looking for the way out. They'd be looking for the way out all along. Told you. And you had this man, look. Will this man come out and I'm saying if this fight gets made, will this man come out and apologise? Eddie Hearn. Do you think this man should be apologising? What did he say? Oh, this Tyson Fury, he's been having you on all along, isn't he? He told you he's a fraud. He's been having you on all along. He's a fraud. He is. I told you about him. But guess what, Eddie? According to the WBA, he's going to sign for this fight. So who is the fraud then? Do you think that's a fair comment? Let me know. Am I making fair points or am I biased for saying this? Am I biased? Am I the problem here? Is it me? Is it Ultra? Ultra's biased. Is it? Am I biased? Or what? Let me know. Am I being biased by saying that? Eddie Hearn coming out and saying shit like, told you about Fury all along. He's been conning the public. I told you. He's been fooling you forever. But Eddie, it looks like, as it stands, he's going to sign to fight. So, do you think you was a bit hasty there in your criticism? What do you think? Do you think that you was a little bit hasty? Look, should I get up his comments on Anthony Joshua? Because you know he's bringing up Anthony Joshua, as per fucking usual, right? This is a man who's trying to make a fight for a man who's had 2 adverse findings for clomiphene in the space of a couple of months. And he's over in fucking the Middle East trying to get this guy a fight. Can you believe this guy? Personally, if that was me, I wouldn't be showing my face on social media again. That's just me. If I was on record as saying that a fighter who failed 2 drugs tests should be banned for life from the sport, and I'll get that to you up right now if you want, because you guys think I'm mucking around. I'll get that to you up now. If I tweeted this, I'll get it up. It's not a problem. I don't know what he's worried about Usyk and Fury for, because he's got much bigger things to worry about than Usyk and Fury. Let me get this up here 1 second. Here we go. Don't worry about no Fury and Usyk. You need to be worrying about this. What about this tweet? You guys have seen this before. You guys can see this. 2012. Eddie Hearn. Any athlete that tests positive twice should be banned for life, in my opinion. That's Eddie Hearn right there in black and white. He's now in the Middle East trying to get this guy a big fight against Manny Pacquiao. If I was him, I would never ever show my face in front of a camera ever again. Do you think that's a fair comment? If you think that's a fair comment, press 7. If you think it's an unfair comment and I'm being biased, press 8. All I'm doing is quoting his own words. You can see his words on the screen. Any athlete that tests positive twice should be banned for life. So why is he over trying to get Conor Benn a fight with Manny Pacquiao then? And why is he allowing the integrity of VADA to be called into question when he called them the gold standard of fucking testing in boxing? If I was him, I wouldn't show my face again. So why he's coming on IFL TV worrying about Fury and Usyk and conning the public? Mate, let me tell you something. When you talk about conning the public, fucking hell. Given what happened in the run-up to Conor Benn versus Chris Eubank. Let me leave it at this before I get in trouble. Do you know that it's alleged? Do you know Conor Benn had several misconduct charges raised against him by the British Boxing Board of Control, right? Which led to him giving up his license, right? Do you remember that? Do you remember that the British Board of Control raised several charges of misconduct towards Conor Benn? And they asked Conor Benn to turn up for a hearing, and Conor Benn didn't turn up for the hearing and he relinquished his license. Is it true? Right, I'm asking the question. Is it true that one of the cases of misconduct that's been brought about against Conor Benn is to do with the fact that they failed to inform Chris Eubank Jr. about these test results? Is that the truth? Because that's something. I'm going to be very, very careful what I say. But let me put it this way. It's been alleged that one of the cases of misconduct that the British Boxing Board of Control may have brought against certain individuals is that Chris Eubank Jr. was not informed that an individual had had X amount of failed tests before X amount of time, etc., etc. Yo King believes he's heard that. I believe I may have heard something very, very similar. That the British Boxing Board of Control are not happy because Chris Eubank Jr. didn't seem to be informed or wasn't given the requisite notice that his opponent may have had a problem with a drugs test. Yet these guys are going to come on IFL TV and tell you about who's conning the public. Are you serious? They're going to come on and tell you about who is conning the public. Fuck me. I don't know what to say, man. I don't know what to say about it, man. Let's carry on. Let's carry on. Let's get back to the news. Let's carry on. So, like I said before, he said, oh, Joshua never had no problems fighting Usyk. That's what he said, isn't it? I'll get the tweet up. He said, oh, AJ never had any problems fighting Usyk. Well, apart from the fact that they threatened to give up the WBO. Evil Kin, can you piss off? Because you talk nonsense. Go and piss off, yeah, and go listen to someone else. Yeah, and same with Fury, and Fury said he had uncastrated wild boar. When have I ever said that Tyson Fury was a clean athlete? Have I ever said that? Anybody in the chat, have I ever said that Tyson Fury is a clean athlete? Ever? I've never said that. I keep saying it till I'm blue in the face. I believe everybody's on PEDs. But this situation with Eubank and Benn is different because the promoters and the fighters had prior knowledge and one of the opponents doesn't look like he was informed. And that's the problem. The problem is you've got a guy boiling down to 157 pounds, putting his health at risk for a fight, and he does not know that his opponent has failed 2 drugs tests in the space of 3 months. So again, going back to Fury has nothing to do with that. And I do not believe Fury's clear. I've got to be careful what I say here. I do not believe that these elite level athletes are clean. That's my opinion. So just go listen to somebody else. Seriously. I don't think that's a fair. I think that's a fair comment. You know, honestly, I think I'm being fair by saying that. I think that's fair. If anybody thinks I'm unfair in saying that, that's fine. I have never ever said that Tyson Fury is a clean athlete and Conor Benn's a dirty athlete. Those words have never ever come out of my mouth, ever. You've also never heard me say on this channel that Conor Benn intentionally took anything. I've never accused Conor Benn of intentionally taking performance-enhancing drugs. What I have commented about is the following. His opponent was draining himself down to an extremely dangerous weight. People involved with making the fight knew beforehand that his opponent had had a problem with 2 drugs tests and that fight was still on the verge of taking place. That's the problem. The problem is the promoters and the British Boxing Board of Control and blah, blah, blah. That's the problem. Does that make sense, guys? And again, Tyson Fury served a ban. Backdated, probably not right. But backdated, he served his ban. That is not an ongoing case. That's a case from, what, 2000 and what? When did that case get resolved? 7 years ago. Is the Conor Benn case resolved yet? Or is there still an investigation going into that case? Can somebody tell me? Have the British Boxing Board of Control completed their investigation into Conor Benn? Or is that investigation still going on? So why should we stop talking about the Conor Benn ongoing investigation to talking about an investigation that was concluded 7 or 8 years ago? Where's the sense in that? Where is the sense in that? Does that make sense to you? That doesn't make any sense to me. I'm just being honest. That's my opinion. It doesn't make any sense to me to talk about it in that way. Don't talk about Conor Benn. Talk about Fury. Well, okay then. Fury served a backdated ban. Do you believe that Tyson Fury tested positive because of wild boar. Me personally, I don't. No, I don't believe it's wild boar. That's my opinion. I'm entitled to my opinion, in case any lawyers are listening. Doesn't mean I can't talk about Conor Benn, does it? Especially as Conor Benn's an ongoing case, right? It's bullshit. And it's the same muppet that was in the chat within 2 seconds of the news getting announced. He's up in the chat banging on about, oh, but has he signed? Has he signed? Has he signed yet? Has he signed? Thought he'd be positive the fight's happening. Oh, well, no, has he signed? I don't know, mate. Look at this. This is Eddie Hearn on Tyson Fury versus Oleksandr Usyk. Anthony Joshua has fought Usyk back-to-back. No fucking problems. Fury says it's not about the money. I'll fight him for free. Fuck off. You want too much money. You want too much money. You've been played for all these years. All I'm saying is this. First and foremost, Anthony Joshua did not fight Oleksandr Usyk with no problems. They threatened to vacate the WBO title if Usyk didn't accept a rematch clause. Am I right about that or am I wrong about that? Can somebody let me know? If I'm wrong, I won't do a disappearing act like everybody else. I'll just say, I got it wrong. There's nothing wrong with getting things wrong, you know. I get things wrong, get things wrong every day. Part of being a crappy software developer like myself is getting things wrong. Bug fixing, getting things wrong. Fixing bugs that you created in a system. Refactoring things that you made that weren't good enough. That's just part of your job. I got something wrong. I made a mistake. Now let me go and correct it. I'm happy to admit if I was wrong. But would you say I'm accurate with what I'm saying? That Eddie Hearn's in fact incorrect by saying Anthony Joshua fought Usyk back-to-back, no fucking problems. Because I seem to remember quite a few problems. I seem to remember quite a few problems involving that WBO title. And I think certain people threatened to vacate it if Usyk didn't accept a rematch clause. Let's see if I'm telling the truth or not quickly. Let's see if Google can remember this. I'm on the other screen. I'll find it. Here you go. Get it up. Just quickly. Bear with me. Look at this tweet. Eddie Hearn. Anthony Joshua fought Usyk back-to-back. No problems. Right, let's have a look at these no problems. Dragged on. Anthony Joshua could vacate WBO title as Usyk talks rumble on. Following collapse of Tyson Fury fight, admits Eddie Hearn. You can't write this fucking shit. That's all I'm saying, like. You can't write this shit. Oh, Tony, the man. How you doing, Tony? You're welcome to come on if you want, Tony. I'm just saying, can you see this stuff? Look, can you see this guy? Can you see this in the chat, guys? Look. Eddie Hearn's quote. Anthony Joshua fought Usyk back-to-back. No fucking problems. You've been played for all these years. Well, let's have a look. No problems. Anthony Joshua could vacate WBO title as Usyk talks rumble on following collapse of Tyson Fury fight, admits Eddie Hearn. Please. That's all I'm saying, innit? It's nonsense, innit? It's pure nonsense, innit? There are problems. And look how much time it took to get that fight on. And then look how much time the rematch took to get on. Do you remember when Anthony Joshua lost that fight? What was the gap between Anthony Joshua losing the first fight and the rematch? It was like 9 months, wasn't it? But according to Eddie Hearn, there were no problems. Fuck me. There were definitely problems there. So that's all I'm saying. Like, it's not about... What it's about is just making sure. It's basically about holding these people accountable. Because I feel like these people have jumped the gun. Harry Chan says, Usyk said he would fight for free too. They both did the same. They did, yeah. We've already shown the tweet in the earlier show of Usyk claiming he'd fight for free. They both did that. Proven187 says, Adam Catterall reacts to the fight is on. Have you seen it yet? I like Adam Catterall. I've got a lot of time for Adam Catterall. He made a tweet earlier in the week about pay-per-view numbers for Tyson Fury, which is never a good idea because I don't think anybody truly knows what these pay-per-view numbers are. But he made an incorrect statement about Tyson Fury's pay-per-view numbers. He then admitted he was wrong and deleted his tweet from Twitter. I've got a lot of respect from Adam Catterall, you know. Do you know what? It takes a lot to do that, you know. It takes a lot to do that for someone to say, do you know what? I'm going to delete this tweet because I got it wrong. And then come on and admit you got it wrong. That's all we're asking for, really. All we're asking for is, you know, just admit when you get it wrong. I get it wrong all the time. I said, yeah, that Anthony Yard versus Beterbiev was going to be one of the worst mismatches of all time. I had to then come on this channel and admit I got it completely wrong. And Anthony Yard is a fucking legend and a warrior. Do you know how many times I have to come on here and admit I've got it wrong? All the time? All the time. You don't see me do disappearing acts and pretend I didn't say it. Didn't say it. Is this what you want me to react to, Adam Catterall? This I ain't got time for this. If he's got something new to say, then let me know. Oh, I see. Well, this one here. Oleksandr Usyk has accepted the ridiculous financial split of 70-30 against him to fight in the backyard of an undefeated champion who is just as technical as he is, whilst giving away every possible physical advantage. Proper fighting man. Look, I'm not going to comment on the split because, like I said before, I'm trying to avoid that. So I'll leave it to you to decide if Usyk really deserves 50-50. I will leave that to you. I'm not going to get into that. I'm not going to argue about that. It's a waste of time really arguing about it. I will say, like I said before, I'm not sure if number of belts is a substitution for currency. Do you know what I mean? But, you know, whatever. But yeah, look, Usyk is a proper... But can I be honest with you? Press 1 if you agree with me on this and press 2 if you disagree. I mean, this is just another nothing statement. Whoever said Oleksandr Usyk was not a proper fighting man? Who has said that? Do you know what I mean? Like, who has said that Oleksandr Usyk isn't a proper fighting man? Who has said that Oleksandr Usyk isn't giving away massive physical advantages in this fight? I said that in the last show like half an hour ago. Didn't we sat down for half an hour and we said, I hope people realise, like, this is a tough task for Usyk. It's a fight that I believe he can win. But fuck me, it's a massive task. It's an absolutely massive task ahead of him. It's a massive task. So, you know, to me, like I said before, you don't get any fucking extra points for making this. It's just stating the obvious. Of course Usyk's a fighting man. I think Tyson Fury's a proper fighting man. Do you think that's wrong for me to say that? Just jump in the comments and let me know. Do you think I'm wrong to say both Usyk and Fury are proper fighting men? Or I see where we're going with this, right? Fury's not a proper fighting man, but Usyk is. That's kind of the angle we're going with. Okay, right. Okay, I understand now. Fury's not a proper fighting man, but Usyk is. But after the Wilder 3 fight and after the Wilder 1 fight, we were all blowing smoke up Fury's ass. How did you get up from that fucking shot? How did you get up from that knockdown, right? But now we're saying, oh, he ain't a true fighting man. Usyk's the real fighting man. He ain't the real fighting man. But fucking, what was it last year? The last year or the year before last, we were all crawling up Fury's asshole about how did you get up from them knockdowns against Deontay Wilder? He's a true warrior. He will fight to the finish. Look, I don't understand this crap, man. They're both fighting men. They're both proper fighting men. And you know, I think that the only people who have the right to turn around and criticize people is people who've been in the ring. If you've been, and I'm not even talking about sparring. If you've been in the ring and you've actually had a fight, white collar, amateur, professional, then for me, you have the right, you've earned the right to turn around and say, he's a fighting man, he's not a fighting man. That's my opinion. If you've actually been in the ring yourself, I'm not talking sparring, so I'm not counting myself here, as you can tell, right? So I don't count, right? I'm talking amateur, white collar, pro. If you've been in the ring and you've had a fight, you have the right to turn around and say, so-and-so's a fighting man, so-and-so's not, because you've actually been in the ring and done it. I don't have a problem with that. It's the ones who sit behind keyboard. And do stuff like this, like your man Adam Smith, look, who are telling you what's going on in boxing. Do you remember this when we had people like this telling us we had people like this who couldn't even do leg ups telling us who the best fighters in the world were.
2, 3, 4, 5, higher, 6,
You know what I'm saying? This guy booked himself in as the pay-per-view commentator. Can you believe this guy is so delusional about his own opinion? He thought his opinion on boxing was worth so much that he booked himself in as the lead commentator for Sky Sports box office on fucking pay-per-view. This man can't even do a leg up. He's telling you who's going to win a fight between two men. That's what I'm talking about. That's all I'm talking about. That's all I'm saying. So if you've been in the ring and you've had a fight, by all means, criticize these people. But if you haven't been in the ring, then I'm not sure. For me, you know my opinion. So Adam Catterall here isn't saying anything we don't know. Tony is saying, I highly doubt Usyk and Fury is more than a 15% chance that Usyk wins. I'm 85% sure that Usyk gets dominated. Usyk is a once in a lifetime fighter. I don't know, Tony. I don't know. But Tony, to be honest, I can see why you think that, because you've been in the ring and you know anybody who's been in there. Height and reach. Tony, let me ask you a question. Tony's had about 30 plus fights, right? Tony, I've always said that other than power, other than being in the ring with a puncher, height and reach is probably the most difficult thing to deal with in all of boxing. Would you agree? If you disagree, let me know. But I've always thought that other than dealing with like a genuine knockout puncher who can just hurt you, you know, you get in with them guys, they're just heavy-handed. They hurt you with every shot, either hand, yeah? But the only thing I thought I could think about that is more difficult than that in boxing than getting in the ring with a freakish puncher is getting in the ring with somebody who just has a massive physical advantage over you, height and reach. It is incredibly hard to overcome. Incredibly hard. And I always point people to Lomachenko versus Teofimo, rounds 1 to 6, for a prime example of that. Vasily Lomachenko versus Teofimo Lopez, rounds 1 to 6. Sometimes, the physicality just becomes too much. But Usyk is a great fighter. Usyk is more than just a world-class fighter, isn't he? Usyk's an all-time great. And if anybody can do it, it's him. So I'm giving him a big chance in it. I think he's got a big chance. I think it's close to being a 50-50-50 fight. Tony disagrees. He's saying, nah, I used to love to fight taller fighters than me. I hated same height people. That's interesting. When you fight someone your own height, you are always in danger. If you're short, get close. Taller, stay away. Same, no. Okay. Fair enough, Tony. No worries. Jesus. For me, brutal. Absolutely brutal. Brutal. Harry says, if Breedis can arguably beat Usyk, Fury gonna dominate. Oh, Tony wants to get on. Okay, Tony, come on. If anybody else wants to come in, come on as well. Let me just get my headphones ready before I bring Tony in. But you can use the same argument against Fury. That argument doesn't work, Harry Chan, because we can say, well, if John McDermott beat Fury, then Usyk can beat Fury. If Steve Cunningham can floor Tyson Fury, then Usyk can floor Tyson. So those kind of arguments can work both ways. Do you know what I'm saying? What do you guys think? Do you think I'm being overly biased? I don't think I'm being biased at all, honestly. I am biased, obviously. We're all biased, but I don't think I'm being overly biased at all, Honestly, I'm trying to just be as legit as possible. I don't know what people want me to say. They're both fighting men. And it's an incredibly tough fight. I think it's close to a 50-50, to be honest. I think it's going to be a ton of pressure, and it will be on the night. Oleksandr Usyk doesn't know how to lose, man. That's a guy who does not know how to lose. It's going to be tough, man, for either one of them. There's lots of cases for and against for either one. Let me just see if my headset's working, and then I will give the link to Mr. Toney's reviews. All right, let's go. All right, Tony, there's the link. Kabosh. So there's the link. So we'll be in here in a sec. We'll get his thoughts on the fight and what happens. Oh, who do you guys think is going to win? Yeah, no worries. No rush, Tony. Take your time. No rush. And who do you guys think is going to win? I genuinely don't know. All I'm saying is, the only thing I'm committing to so far is that both fighters deserve credit for taking the fight. That's all I'm trying to say. Both fighters deserve credit for taking the fight. and that if this fight does happen, people just need to chill out next time and not jump to conclusions and wait for the fight to fully collapse before we start accusing people of being cowardly and stuff. Because I just think a lot of people have had eggs on their faces tonight. And it's great news for Daniel Dubois, by the way. I don't know how you got. We discussed it in the earlier show. I mean, for me, Fury had to step up and take this fight because Dubois has just got no chance against. You can't let Dubois get in the ring with Usyk. That's just going to be a destruction derby for me. I just think Dubois is absolutely made for Usyk. Like, he is made for Oleksandr Usyk. Daniel Dubois, stiff, rigid, throws the same combinations over and over again, fights in the same rhythm, jab, jab, right hand, jab, right hand. Not a lot of variation. I mean, it's not going to take Usyk long to figure him out. Struggles against movement, struggles in high-paced fights. I mean, it's just Daniel Dubois. If Oleksandr Usyk could write a Christmas present down, if Santa Claus came to Oleksandr Usyk and said, make me a list, build me a fighter that I can just come to the UK and beat up on, live on BT box office for a couple of million quid in the O2 Arena. It'd be Daniel Dubois, wouldn't it? He's just made for him. Dubois is absolutely made for Usyk. Made for him. It's a terrible fight. I'm convinced about that. It's a shocking fight, Really, really bad fight. And Usyk hasn't knocked anybody down at heavyweight. Do you know that? He's never knocked anybody down since he's been at heavyweight. But let me tell you, I'd pick him to knock Daniel Dubois down in that fight and stop him. I really would. And I like Dubois, but let's be honest. It's nothing to do with resume. It's a terrible star match. It's a terrible star matchup. Terrible star matchup. AH says, I'm a Fury fan. Sometimes it's difficult for a taller fighter to punch down against a smaller skilled boxer. We've heard this before, haven't we, with Anthony Joshua and stuff. I'm not sure if Fury has those problems, because if you look at how Fury's dealt with some of the smaller... I'm not saying Usyk's like Chisora. I'm just saying. I'm not saying. Fury recently shown that he's pretty adept at, setting these shorter fighters up for the uppercuts, etc., etc., keeping them at bay behind the jab. Obviously, like I said before, Usyk is no Chisora and Usyk is no fucking Dillian White. I mean, this is a completely different type of fight. Completely different type of fight. Let's see. Leon says, Fury's got to be fit as fuck. He needs to be able to do the 12 at full pelt. It's going to be a tough... it's going to be a tough fight, man. You can't come in too heavy, in my opinion. But we'll have to see what happens. I mean, the other week, what did we have? We had Ahara Davis and Lewis Ritson. If you'd have asked me how Ahara should go about the fight with Ritson, I would have said Ahara needs to stick behind the jab and make it a boring fight and win on points. Looking back on that and looking back at the way Ahara fought and how that fight was going, I think I was wrong. I think Ahara did the right thing by fighting fire with fire, because I think eventually he would have always got dragged into a fight anyway. So I think actually I got it wrong and Ahara got it right by sitting in the pocket, absorbing the shots, catching and shooting, and he did it the right way. So, like I said, I get it wrong all the fucking time. Who do you guys think? How do you guys think about who's going to win if this fight happens? I mean, listen, let me make it clear. Let me make this 100% clear. If Tyson Fury turns around and pulls out, so let me give you an example. If I was to see a video released by Tyson Fury saying, I'm not taking this fight because I'm not donating any money to the Ukraine or something, or if Tyson Fury made a video saying, I want 75-25, then for me, that's open season on Tyson Fury. At that point, that's ridiculous. That's open season. That's just indefendable, right? But all I'm saying is, so far, I think my measured approach has paid off. What do you guys think? I think so far, my measured approach has paid off. If you look, I haven't made a video on this. I've waited until the last day of negotiations to make a video. We've waited till Friday deliberately. We haven't been making videos every day of the week, calling people cowards and giving you the latest blow by blow, right? I've been waiting deliberately until the Friday to see if the deal gets done. Hey, brother. How you doing?
Hey, how's it going?
Big boy, what's going on? Okay, man, I'm gonna hush. I'm gonna go get a cup of tea, Tony. Tony, just just tell us how you feel about the fight happening. If you think the fight will happen, just tell us anything that comes to mind. I'm gonna go and boil the kettle, Tony.
All right, while you do that, I won't get into the details of the fight till you get back. So, will the fight happen? I have no idea. In my mind, I can't think of a reason why Tyson Fury would be scared of Usyk, but To me, it's almost like Usyk called his bluff. Like no fighter of the status of Usyk, who's been undisputed, now a multiple weight champion, has 3 out of the 4 major titles, would ever accept a 30-70 split, and Usyk did it. So the history of it is knowing that Usyk accepted what the Saudis gave him, knowing that Fury turned it down, wanting more money. Then Fury coming out with a 70-30 split is a bad look, in my opinion, because it looks like Fury was doing everything he could to price himself out of the fight. The issue is Usyk didn't allow that to happen. So I don't know. Like, I really don't know if this is for sure it's going to happen or not, because I thought it would have been signed weeks ago.
Let me ask you a question. That's fine. Let me ask you a question. When Canelo Alvarez fought Caleb Plant, do you know what? I hate talking about splits, Tony, but since it's you, I'm going to do this once and once only. Do you happen to know the split for Caleb Plant versus Canelo Alvarez? Because I think that was for undisputed. What split was that? Do you know?
I don't remember. I remember that they were supposed to fight initially, and then Caleb turned it down because it wasn't enough. He had a fight in between, and so did Canelo. Then they ended up fighting on PBC. But I don't remember what the actual split was.
Volts is saying it was 80-20, but we don't know Volts for sure. All right, Tony, forget that. I know what you're saying. Let me ask you another one.
I thought Caleb. Hold on. I thought Caleb got like a flat 10 million. I didn't think he got a split.
Okay. All right. Okay.
I'm not sure.
Let me ask. No, that's fine. Let me ask you something else. If you're and Tony, if any point if you think I'm full of shit, as usual, just say Ultra, you're full of shit. All right, Tony, just you know how to do it, yeah? Because you're much bigger than me, so it don't matter. So let me ask you this, right? If you're on Team Fury and you're on Team Usyk, right, and you're negotiating for this fight, right, one of the biggest fights in the history of boxing, right? Do you think that it's quite plausible that both of the guys on these teams were going to play an incredibly hard bargain, like drive the bargain down to the absolute last minute? My point is trying to say, in some respects, Tony, isn't this how deals are done to a certain degree? When you've got two sides, this is a once in a lifetime opportunity to make a hell of a lot of money. You've got two sides, you've got two sides saying, I am not giving in. I want this split. Okay, fine. I don't want it. I'm walking away. Okay, walk away then. But then the fight's not on. Okay, I'm walking away. Okay, I'm walking away. And then how many times, I'm just saying in life, business deals, whatever. At the last minute, when a deal, like we see, Tony, I don't. Do we not see this in NBA as well all the time in the NBA, where teams will be discussing a trade, and they'll be discussing the trade for months and months, and they'll be going back and forth, and then just at that last minute on deadline day, somebody caves and says, "Do you know what? Fuck it, Tony, we're doing it." What do you think?
I mean, I would agree with you in normal circumstances, but we're talking about Tyson Fury, and this dude is anything but normal. Like.
Facts. That is a fact. Carry on. That's a fact. Carry on.
He's a walking contradiction. Like every other sentence, it goes against what he just said. And then he continually does it and builds upon the contradictions, and it makes no sense. The thing about Fury is, it's hard to tell. It's hard to tell. Like, you don't know if he's serious or not because he gave the deadline to Anthony Joshua, and then he extended that deadline. So, and then that fight never happened. I believe it was more Eddie Hearn why it didn't happen. Because Eddie was on record saying a fight only takes 2 weeks to make, but all of a sudden now for Fury, he needs more than 2 weeks. But I don't know. With Tyson Fury, it's just he's so sporadic that it's very hard to really understand what the fuck is going on in his mind.
Let me ask you another question, and it's about your views on Tyson Fury. I always get accused of being a homer for Fury, right? Which I think what it is the following, and you tell me if I'm wrong, and I want your opinion on this, right? The reason why, and I agree with you, Tyson Fury is one of the biggest contradictors ever. Like, listen, Tony, I stopped listening to what came out of this idiot's mouth about 5 years ago. You just don't. Whatever he says, take it with a grain of salt. But the reason I've done that, Tony, and the reason I've always sort of given them a pass for literally saying one thing and doing another, because I've always believed he's bipolar. I never believed that the mental issues were a fix and a fraud to try and get out of his backdated, which didn't make sense because his ban was backdated anyway. So I don't know why he would make up mental issues to try and get out of a backdated ban. But anyway, but I've always believed he's bipolar. So for me, I suffer from mental health problems. So I've always looked at him and thought, he doesn't know what day of the week it is. He's probably medded up. He's on medication. He's bipolar. He's up 1 minute. He's down the next minute. And that's what I put it down to. Do you think that I've made a mistake in assuming that, in giving him a pass for that? And how do you look at it when Tyson Fury does these contradictions? Do you look at it in a way and think, he's doing it deliberately, he's fucking people around, he's an idiot, he's trying to be sort of, not hurt people, but he's got bad intentions? Or do you think this is just a guy who's just literally doesn't know what day of the week it is? 1 minute he's up and 1 minute he's down. Does that make sense, Tony?
It makes sense. And again, it's very hard because even before he went through his mental health issues, he would do crazy shit, like show up like dressed as Batman to the Klitschko fight. So he's always been a little off. There's always been something unique about him that stood out that was different. But do I believe he has mental health issues? Yes, more than likely, I believe he does. I mean, normally, even though he's never been in the best of shapes aesthetically, he's always been in great shape physically. And what that means is he may not look good, but just because he doesn't look good doesn't mean that he's not a phenomenal athlete, because he could go all day, never get tired. So that tells you that he was always in shape. However, that 3 years removed from boxing, he let himself go to waste. Like, he was, 400 plus pounds? So
correct.
That tells you that he definitely went through a depression, because most athletes, if there's nothing wrong, won't let their body go like that. You know what I mean? Most stay in, like, look at how many retired fighters or track runners or any sport, after they're gone from the sport, they all remain in good health. They all remain in good shape. So I would say that, judging off of how he looked, he probably does have mental health issues. Now, at this current stage in his career, today, I don't know if it's as much as it was in the past. I mean, some things you never get over. Some things they're just wrong with you and you don't know why. I don't know the guy personally, so it'd be impossible to say. But I personally don't like Tyson Fury because I think he's a very dirty fighter. Not as in cheating with all the conspiracy theories, but he does very dirty tactics in the ring that the referee could call out, but they normally don't catch it. And I don't like him as a fighter, but I think he's a phenomenal fighter. I think
just ask. I'm not questioning you. Just tell me, what do you think those tactics are? I'm not disagreeing. Are we talking like forearm on top of the head and stuff? Just tell me.
Well, not just forearms, but what he likes to do a lot is, and you can see this against Deontay Wilder, especially in the second fight. What he likes to do is he'll take his forearm, he'll put it underneath your chin, right? And what he ends up doing is he'll lean on the back of your head, so his forearm is choking you. He's taking the air out of your lungs because he's actually choking you, putting you in a headlock. But it's very hard to see, and most people don't know that have never been in the ring and seen dirty tactics like that, where he'll put all his weight on the back of your neck, use that forearm, and it just bears down on it, and then you're being choked. So there's a lot of stuff like that he likes to do that I just don't like, because he'll do it whether he's up or down in a fight. You know, it's one thing if it's a dog fight and you're behind or you might be losing, but he'll do it to guys that he's dominating. So that's why I really don't like his sportsmanship.
Tony, are you right to stay on for another 5-10? Are you okay to keep staying on for a bit, yeah? You're right?
Yeah, I can stay on for a little bit.
Thank you, thanks, man. I appreciate that. Let me ask you, I wanted to ask you, what do you think, Tony, of Tyson Fury's reign so far as WBC champion? Like, do you feel underwhelmed by the whole thing? And if he does fight Usyk, will that go some way to making it up to you to a certain degree? Because all I'm trying to say is, like, I'm looking at his WBC title defenses, right? Chisora was we all know was terrible. But if he does step in with Usyk, right, I could be wrong, but I think that would mean that his WBC title defenses would have been against Wilder, White, and Usyk. Now, to me, right, to be fair, that would be pretty much, I think that might have even been at some point pretty close to the Ring Magazine top 4 minus Anthony Joshua. So if he does get in with Usyk, would it change the way you feel about his WBC title run? Or do you still think, look, his title run's been underwhelming, he's ducking and dodging, picking and choosing, whatnot? I'm just interested, not trying to lead you onto anything, just
No. So again, personally, I do not like Tyson Fury, but I have to respect him as a fighter because he is phenomenal. The way he moves, the size he is, he does things he shouldn't be able to do. and he does it with ease. He's a great fighter. Maybe one of the greatest heavyweights of all time. Now, as far as the runs go, this is what I've brought up to people before. And to my knowledge, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, and any historians in here can also correct me, I cannot think of one heavyweight champion that's done what Tyson Fury has done. And what that is, and we'll get to the WBC in a minute, he beat Vladimir Klitschko, who had reigned for 10 years. So that's one long reigning champion he defeated. But not only did he beat one, but he beat Deontay Wilder after he reigned for 10 title defenses. So he beat 2 long reigning heavyweight champions in his career. I don't think any other heavyweights ever done that. Now, he had circumstances where he could do it because he had that 3 years removed from boxing. So other people came in, they got titles, etc. But regardless of the way he got there, he still did something that I don't think any other heavyweights ever done. Now, moving past that, I noticed that you left out Chisora. You don't feel like that's a good fight, and I disagree. I think I said this on your channel a while back. Chisora, in my opinion, did better than Wilder did against Fury. See, Wilder might have knocked him down. However, Wilder got stopped. He had the towel thrown in, and he got slept in the third fight. Chisora, the referee waved it off, but he would have survived all 12 rounds. Now, when you look at Usyk, Usyk's second fight was against Chisora, and Chisora did a much better job than Anthony Joshua did against him. In fact, the first 5 rounds straight, you could argue that Chisora won every one of those first 5 rounds. So in my opinion, I didn't see the Chisora fight is a bad fight, even though Fury had already beat him twice. I still think Chisora is a very good fighter, and he'll give any fighter hell. Chisora was robbed against Parker in the first fight. Yes, he lost the second one, but he should have won the first one. So I think that's a good win in itself against Chisora, regardless how other people feel. So again, to get back, the Dillian White fight was a great win. You're talking about a guy who waited a million days for his chance, and when he got in there, he got embarrassed. He looked like he didn't even belong in the ring. And Dillian White made Anthony Joshua go life or death because he damn near got knocked out. Even though AJ stopped Dillian White, it was still AJ got hurt bad in that fight. And you know, White had already beat like 5 top 10 world-rated heavyweights, including beating undefeated fighters like Oscar Rivas. And then he gets in there with Fury, and Fury makes him look like he never fought a day in his life. So the dude, regardless how people feel, like every time, even if you want to bring up Klitschko, he fought Klitschko a year and a half before AJ did and made it look easy. He made it look boring. People called it a sparring match because Klitschko couldn't touch him. AJ gets in there and goes life or fucking death. Damn near gets stopped, and Fury beats him with ease. So every time Fury gets in there with these guys that are supposed to be challenges, he just breezes through them. So the dude is impressive. He's very impressive. And no, I don't think he has a bad run. I think he's got a great run considering that he was away for 3 years. And I'm going to just say this real fast. When I think about greats who have had runs that were out of the ring for close to 3 years, I think of Muhammad Ali and Mike Tyson. Both of them did something that, both of them failed to do something that Tyson Fury did. They both fell short. Mike Tyson lost to Evander Holyfield after getting out of prison. Muhammad Ali, after being able to come back to boxing because he didn't want to go to Vietnam, he lost to Joe Frazier. Tyson Fury, on the other hand, when he fought the man of the division, he beat him in Klitschko after a 3-year break. So the dude, to me, just all the way around is just an impressive fighter. He's very good.
Let me ask you. Do you mind if I just ask you a few more questions, Tony?
Go ahead.
Yeah. Let me ask you about Usyk. I know you. Tony, before we get onto that, let me ask you a personal question. Let me ask you about fear. You obviously hear a lot of this shit from people who've never been in. I've never ever had a fight, so I don't ever accuse other fighters of being shook of other fighters. Where are you on this business of fear? My opinion on it has always been that a lot of fighters do get nervous before they get in the ring. A lot of fighters do get nervous when they get in their changing rooms. I've heard professional fighters say that, maybe not all, but I think quite a few. I've always been of the impression that there's nothing wrong with feeling a little bit of fear in the run-up to the fight or during, as it may keep you sharp. What I've heard is that if it's too much, then it can totally override you. But what is your... I've never actually had your opinion on that. When you got in the ring, did you ever get a bit... Was there ever a time when you were a little bit meh, or were you just like some fighters, Tony, they've done so much work and they've worked so hard in the gym that they just feel like, look, I've done everything I can. Does that make sense? I've done everything. I've left no stone unturned. So whatever will be, will be. I don't really feel no fear because I haven't really left no stone unturned. How did it feel for you, just out of interest, when we get in? Because we hear a lot of talk about he's scared, he's ducking. Do you want to ask you as a fighter, like, were you ever scared? How do you look at it?
So, me personally, no, I never got scared to fight anybody. Did I ever get nervous? Yeah, I had nerves, jitters before getting in the ring. But once I got in there and seen the other person, them jitters go away immediately. I would say my fear would be more of looking bad in front of people who knew me that were watching, having to listen to them talk shit to me about getting my ass whooped, more than I was fearful of the person in front of me. I was scared to look bad, not scared to lose. And I think this is what a lot of people get confused in boxing. I don't, because I've been around world champions and I've talked to a lot of world champions behind the scenes. We had some that boxed out of my gym. Here's the thing. I don't think, especially at the level that Tyson Fury is or Usyk is, I don't think any fighter fears another fighter at that level. I don't think they're scared of the other fighter. What they're scared of is losing. That doesn't mean they're scared of the other guy. They're scared to lose because of the consequences that comes with it. Those consequences is what Anthony Joshua is learning right now. Boxing fans do not like losers. When you get one loss, they treat you like a bum. So you go from the cash cow to rags the next day. Like you lose all that revenue. So I think the fear is more a financial fear than it is actually getting in the ring to fight the person in front of you, if that makes sense.
It does. It does make sense. It does make sense. When you say that, so when Fury's apprehensive about getting with Usyk, like we made reference to possibly his bluff getting called, is that what we're saying here? Fury's afraid of the consequences there of losing his own, etc., etc.
Yeah, that's what I believe. It's more of the consequences that come with it, more of knowing that you're not going to make the same money, knowing that people are going to talk about how you lost to a midget, what he calls them, and stuff like that, more so than it is him actually fighting the guy.
Usyk, talk to me about dealing with the reach and the height. I don't think people understand how big a task Usyk's facing. I think he can win the fight, but I don't think people physically the task he's fighting. Give us a bit of insight as to like physically what he's gonna have to overcome. 6'9", 260 pounds. Physically, I mean, everybody, he has a certain level of skill. He's got an all-time great level of skill. But are you a believer like me, Tony, that sometimes, it might not be this fight, but sometimes skill just gets overridden by just sheer physical will and advantage?
Well, of course it does. I mean, if it didn't, there wouldn't be weight classes. These aren't Hollywood movies.
There you go.
You're not going to see Manny Pacquiao getting in there with a Tyson Fury. It just, or unless Manny's retired, he might be fighting Conor Benn, but Inouye. We'll use Inouye. You're not going to see Inouye get in there with Tyson Fury because it doesn't matter how skilled Inouye is, he's going to lose every day of the week. However, in my personal opinion, I believe once a man gets over 200 pounds and they practice every day and you know how to throw a punch, it doesn't matter if the guy you're fighting is 400 pounds, 500 pounds, or the same weight as you. You have the power behind you, the weight to knock that person out if you're a power puncher. The issue that I see with Usyk is not the reach. It's not the reach at all. It's the tactics that Tyson Fury implements, and Usyk's not a Mike Tyson style fighter. He's not even a Steve Cunningham. Every knockout that Usyk's ever gotten, I call it death by 1,000 pillows. He hits you 1,000,000 times. He wears you out till you're so exhausted that he could just blow you over with the air coming out of his lips. It's not from devastating power. He just wears you out. The thing is, he's not that big. He's 220 pounds. It's 6'3", which isn't really short. To heavyweights is short, but to an average man, 6'3" is not short. But he's only 220 pounds, and he's not strong. It's not like he's a Dillian White guy that power lifts. You know what I mean? He's not a strong guy. And the issue that I see is Usyk could close the gap, which is great. But see, what all referees do is what they've always done with the Emanuel Stewart style fighters, whether it be Lewis, Klitschko, now Fury. They let them hold. They let them grab. And the issue is going to be at 220 pounds, is 6'3", you've got a guy 6 inches taller than you, is 6'9", that's going to outweigh you because Fury's weight varies, but we'll say anywhere from 30 to 70 pounds, depending on what he wants to come in. Anywhere from 30 to 70 pounds is going to outweigh you. Then he's going to put that weight leverage on the back of your fucking neck. Sorry for cussing. Weigh you down, and your legs are going to be jello by the mid rounds, because all he's going to do every time he comes in close is just hug him and lay on him. And that's the issue that I have. I see Usyk doesn't have that one-shot power to keep him from grabbing him. He doesn't have the strength or the mass. Like, it'd be one thing if Usyk was agile, say at 6'3", 240, 250 pounds, and he was strong. You know what I mean? Then he could combat the weight because he's just as strong. But I don't see how he combats Fury laying on him. And that's what's going to take its toll. He's only going to be able to hold up 260 to 280 pounds for so long. Maybe he comes in 290. I don't know. Fury at 280 looked like he moved at 250. So we have no idea how heavy he can get and still move the same. You know what I mean? So that's my issue when it comes to Fury and Usyk. I just don't see how he combats the grabbing and the leaning and the laying.
And just for Tony, I need to ask you, if you're Fury, imagine you're in Fury's. You were a heavyweight, weren't you, Tony? You were a heavyweight when you boxed, right?
No. I wasn't a heavyweight. I was a middleweight.
You're middle. Oh, okay. You look like a heavyweight these days. What do you weigh these days?
So I'm like, if I stay healthy, around 230, 235.
Yeah.
And I can get down to like 220, 225 on a bad day.
Let me say, if you're Fury, what do you not do? What are the things you don't do against Usyk? What are the things that he must not do? If you were advising, if you was in the corner with Fury, if you had to give him, say, 2 or 3 tips, like whatever you do, don't do this. What are some of the things you can think of that you would say don't do?
So what I would say is don't overcommit with your power shots, because when you do, you let this little guy slip in if you miss, and then he can get off shots on you. You've got arms like tree trunks, so it takes time to recoil those. So don't commit unless you know you can connect. That would be the first thing. I would also tell Fury, do not fight on the front foot like you've been doing in your recent fights. You need to move backwards. You need to use your range. You need to keep Usyk away. If Usyk ever does get into the pocket, don't trade with him in the pocket. Do exactly what I said I think he's going to do. Grab him and lay on him. Push his head down and lay on the back of his neck and just wear them legs out. That would really be it. To me, it's just play keep away and grab him and lay him down. And then when you get into the later rounds, mid to later rounds, when you see him slow down, when he's not as agile, when he can't get out the way because he's gotten exhausted from holding up your weight, then you start to unload on him. You throw the jab straight or the 2 right behind it. So 1-1-2. And whenever that 2 starts connecting, now you know you can start letting the hooks go or the uppercuts go, because you know he's short. So plan off that back foot and just bow, hit him right up the middle with the uppercut. That's what I would tell him to do.
Tony, before we let you go, because we're going to sign out, Anthony Joshua versus Jermaine Franklin. Now, I want to get you on for a whole show about this, but this is down to you. But just for the people, this fight is not far away at all. Tony, this fight's going to be happening in about a month's time. We're about 4 weeks away from this fight. Anthony Joshua versus Jermaine Franklin. Can you just give us a small, tiny bit of analysis as to why you think Jermaine Franklin is a live fighter? Because I've completely written him off, and many other people have completely written him off. But you give him a chance, and you obviously know you know your boxing inside out. So just educate me. Just give me, without giving the game away completely, because I want to get you off another episode. But just give me a few tips as to why you think Franklin is a live dog in this fight.
Okay, first off, I want to touch on why you don't give Franklin a chance. And this is what the trap most people fall into. Most people say that because he lost to Dillian White, but he was robbed. So my thing is this. Had Jermaine Franklin won the decision against Dillian White like he should have, nobody would be saying this is a bad fight. The only reason why they're saying it's a bad fight is because he has a loss on his record, his first loss, which he should have won against Dillian White. So I think that's why a lot of people feel like it's a bad fight. Now, outside of that, not going too deep, we'll keep it real baseline. Franklin has all the attributes that AJ struggles against. I can go a little deeper if you want me to, or I can hold off.
No, do what you want.
All right, so what I mean by he has the attributes that AJ struggles against. He's a short heavyweight. We've already seen him lose to Ruiz and Usyk. Both of them are short heavyweights. So he's already shown flaws that he doesn't really know how to handle guys much shorter than him. Not a couple of inches like Dillian White that are 6'4", guys who are 6'5", but guys who are significantly shorter at 6'3" and below, he struggles with. Outside of that, Jermaine Franklin throws a lot of combinations. He throws barrage shots. AJ is horrible against barrages. His entire career, when people let off on him, he shells up like a turtle and doesn't.
That is very, very true. That is very. He puts the chin down, which is fine, chin down, but chin down and earmuffs up, and that's literally it.
That's it.
He doesn't catch. He caught Ruiz with a few, didn't he? But he doesn't seem to catch and shoot a lot. He's not. I don't know. Sorry, Tony. Carry on. Sorry, carry on.
Yeah. See, now you start to come around and understand as I'm saying it, and that's the thing. And that's the thing. Like, I don't think Franklin has the power to knock AJ out, but I do think he can outpoint him like Usyk did. And the other thing that he struggles against too is very quick hands. It's like when he won his first title against Charles Martin, he's very good at counterpunching shots he can see coming. But when guys are lightning fast, like Ruiz is in the pocket, or Usyk is when he's letting his, because he flows so good with his combinations, you don't know what he's going to throw. He doesn't really know how to counterpunch. He needs to be able to time you. He needs to be able to see it coming. So that's another attribute that Franklin has. He has extremely fast hands in the pocket. And I'll leave it there for the baselines. I don't want to go too much deeper.
Yeah.
But those are the very top of the baseline of how I see it and why I think Franklin's going to give a much better account of himself than people think.
All right, so guys, we're going to leave. This really should have been the show from the get-go, but I managed to find. What I should have done was started the show, got you on the show, did the show, half an hour, close out. But look, we can't always get it right. There's a link in the chat to Tony Reviews' channel. If you look on the screen right now, you will see Tony Reviews' channel on the page. People are saying, good guess, blah, blah, blah. Well, there you go. You can find him and you can subscribe and you can listen to somebody who, unlike me, has been there, seen it, and done it. Tony, thank you very much, sir. We would love to have you back on as soon as fucking possible. And we hope this fight gets made, Tony. Hopefully see you soon, bro.
Hey, thank you for letting me on. And just so you know, when I do come on, you don't have to shout out my channel. I appreciate it, but I don't jump on for that. You have a good night.
No worries, brother. Respect. All right, that's the main man himself. I think Tony's the man, isn't he? Like, you can't say Tony ain't the man. Tony is the main man, isn't he? So, like I said before, coming up on this channel, I really appreciate the fact that we've still got 128 in here. I was hoping we'd do bigger numbers tonight. I was hoping we'd have a 400, 500, 600 people here at night tonight. But maybe when the fight gets officially announced, i.e. Frank Warren Queensby Promotions, right? If that happens, maybe we'll get a few more people in. For those of you who are staying, allow me to quickly tell you what we've got hopefully coming up if we still have a YouTube channel. Anthony Joshua versus Jermaine Franklin is coming up. Tony, as you can see there, has a wealth of knowledge and experience in boxing. Not just from boxing himself, but obviously, as you hear, he's trained in world-class gyms. He thinks Franklin is very, very live. He will be getting his own show if he chooses to do so, and he will be running you through why Jermaine Franklin is a live underdog and going through the do's and don'ts for Anthony Joshua in that fight. Press 7 if you are about that. Then, also coming up at the same time, Chris Andre will be back on this show. Like I said before, I'm more than happy to have respectful people come on and just give their opinions. Like, for me, like I said, it's not a debate. I'm not arguing with people. I'm not debating with people. What we do here is we provide a platform for people to come on and give you a different view, because you can't always just hear my views all the time. So Chris Andre will also be coming on to discuss Anthony Joshua versus Jermaine Franklin. So you will get that as well. So you'll be getting Chris Andre, you'll be getting Tony, possibly Daryl. I need to get Daryl on for a show as well, and such and such. Somebody's mentioned Joe Joyce versus Zhang. Obviously, we'll be, if we have a channel, we will be going live for Joe Joyce versus Zhang as well, obviously. So what we wouldn't not do that fight. So we'll be going live for that. But obviously, Anthony Joshua versus Jermaine Franklin is a big one. And such and such. So that's what's coming up. Anthony Joshua in 4 weeks. We'll hopefully get some more people coming on about this Usyk versus Fury fight if it gets done. There's some old favourites we haven't had on in a while. Andre the Giant, we haven't had on. Andre the Giant. We big up Tony. Hopefully we get you on for your own show, man. You get you on for your own show, and you can just read out the chat. But we'll talk about that time whenever you think you're ready for that. And yeah, we'll do it. So we've got a whole bunch of stuff coming up. Joe Joyce versus Zhang. I might even be around for Andrew Kane, who I think is one of the best prospects in Great Britain. He'll be fighting in a couple of weeks' time. But Joyce versus Zhang. AJ versus Franklin. But let's just see if we can get this fight over the line. We're waiting for the official announcement. Very, very big and important steps have taken place. And just in closing for me, I'm positive that this fight's happening. And that's what we're trying to be on this channel. Rather than being negative all the time. So-and-so's going to pull out. So-and-so's bluff got called. So-and-so like that and things like that. I just think, look, first and foremost, are we getting the fight? Hopefully we can get it. It's a very, very tough fight for Tyson Fury for me. Very, 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 very tough fight. And I hope that both men get credit. And most importantly, and I forgot to say this, it's really important that if these two do get in the ring, genuinely, right, that boxing does the right thing. Press 5 if you agree with me on this. If Fury and Usyk do get in the ring, I just want to see the best man win. I don't want to see any controversy. I don't want to see any dodgy refereeing. And I don't want to see any judges. Because literally, yeah, with what's going on between Ukraine and Russia, there's going to be a lot of eyes that are watching this fight. I don't think people understand. There's going to be a lot of eyes watching this fight. A lot of eyes watching this fight. So it's going to be, you know, I think Tyson Fury will be the favourite in Britain. But I think the rest of the world, obviously because of what's going on in Ukraine, is going to be absolutely rooting for Oleksandr Usyk to win. So people shouldn't underestimate that, you know. This is a big fight, not just because of boxing, yeah, but this is a big fight because of what's going on politically. Whether you like it or not, like, that is going to play a factor. And I think actually that plays good for Usyk. Because I'll tell you this now, if you're Howard Foster, right, you're going to have the world watching you, yeah, on April the 29th. If this fight happens and you're Howard Foster and you're thinking of calling some dodginess, or if you're thinking of writing some dodgy scores in that card, yeah, the whole world's going to be watching you more than ever before. So I do think, yeah, that will play an important part of this fight. You know, we try to avoid politics on this channel, but I do think it will play a very, very important. Harry Chan's gone and burst my bubble straight away. He said, AJ's cards were generous versus Usyk. Maybe they were. Maybe they were. Can we get the AJ judges in? I'll send a WhatsApp to Frank. Who were the judges for AJ versus Usyk 2 when AJ got that split? Fucking hell. I thought AJ did really well in that fight, you know. He did really well. Not sure about the split, though. But let's see. If anybody knows the name of them judges, let me know. I'll WhatsApp them to Frank, see if we can get them in there. But yeah, it ain't going to be pretty. If Usyk gets screwed or if something bad happens, right? It ain't going to be pretty. Like, it ain't going to be a pretty look for boxing. Boxing's done enough fuck-ups recently, innit? Boxing's done enough fuck-ups, so it doesn't need another one. So yeah, let's just be positive with this fight. Let's hope this fight happens. And let me make it loud and clear. If Tyson Fury turns up and makes some kind of excuse, yeah, for not fighting, all right, and says, oh, 75-25, well, I'm not giving any money to Ukraine and all this kind of stuff, then by all means, he's gonna, the criticism that he will get will be deserved, and you won't be hearing me attempt to explain it away. Let me assure you of that. But for the time being, let's just wait and see. Instead of getting the pitchforks out and the torches out, let's wait and see. Hopefully things are beginning to be a bit more positive, and let's see what's happening. The good news is the WBA aren't giving us Dubois and Usyk, and that's something, isn't it? That's got to be one positive that you can take from today, innit? Like, if you can't take anything else from your day, the WBA have not ordered Usyk versus Dubois. Thank the fuck, and Dubois will be thanking the Lord tonight for that as well. Take care of yourselves and take care of each other.